Fleur Isabelle Weasley was a French quarter-Veela witch and the daughter of Apolline Delacour and her husband. She had a younger sister named Gabrielle. Fleur attended Beauxbatons Academy of Magic, which led her to competing as Beauxbatons champion in the Triwizard Tournament held at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Fleur competed bravely, but the tournament ended in tragedy with the murder of Cedric Diggory and the return of Lord Voldemort. This is the life of Fleur Delacour. At some point, possibly in 1987, Fleur began attending Beauxbatons Academy of Magic, where she received her magical education and began learning skills needed in order to become successful after graduation from her school. It's unknown if Beauxbatons had any sorting process like Hogwarts, but Fleur really did excel academically. During her last school year in 1994, she, along with Beauxbatons headmistress Madame Olympe Maxime and a dozen other Beauxbatons students, travelled to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Her school did this to enter into the Triwizard Tournament. They arrived in a huge powder blue chariot pulled by roughly a dozen flying horses on October 30th. She laughed extensively during Albus Dumbledore's speech during the welcoming feast. Partway through the feast, she walked over to the Gryffindor table to ask Ron Weasley for the boulabas in front of him. On her way back, she caught the eyes of most of the other boys in the hall. Fleur placed her name in the Goblet of Fire, and during the Halloween feast was selected to be Beauxbatons Triwizard champion. While awaiting further instructions in a small room off the Great Hall, she learned that the Goblet of Fire had selected a fourth champion, Harry Potter. When Ludo Bagman told her what happened, she first believed he was joking, then was surprised and outraged that they were to let a little boy compete in the tournament. Prior to the first task, Fleur took part in the wand-weighing ceremony presided over by Garrick Ollivander. After being handed the wand, it produced pink and gold sparks and was confirmed by Fleur to contain a Veela hair as a core, a gift from her grandmother. Ollivander described the wand as inflexible and in great working condition when it produced a bouquet of flowers without a problem. Fleur's entrance into the tournament was overshadowed in the Daily Prophet due to Harry Potter's participation. She was only mentioned in the last line of Rita Skeeter's article, with her name misspelled. Forewarned by Madame Maxime that the first task would involve dragons, Fleur tackled the task on the 24th of November 1994. To eliminate all advantages, the champions were made to choose a dragon at random. She drew the common Welsh green dragon and faced her dragon second after Cedric Diggory. She managed to lure the dragon into a sleeping trance, but was immobilized when the dragon snored and released a jet of flame that set her skirt on fire. Fleur extinguished the fire with water from her wand and then managed to retrieve the golden egg. In the run-up to the Yule Ball, Fleur attempted to attract Cedric as a date, but he had already asked Cho Chang. Caught unaware by her Veela heritage, Ron Weasley spontaneously and unwisely asked her to the ball, to which her initial reaction was seeming disdain and shock. Suddenly aware of what he had done, he ran away before she could even answer him. Finally, Fleur selected Ravenclaw Quidditch team captain Roger Davies as her partner. Davies was completely helpless to her charms and to whom she spent some of the night complaining about the flaws of Hogwarts and the British wizarding education system in general. Fleur and Roger, along with the other champions and their partners, opened the dancing at the Yule Ball. As the night wore on, Fleur and Roger left the Great Hall and headed for the gardens, sneaking into the rose bushes for a romantic engagement of some kind. On February 24th, Fleur participated in the second task of the Triwizard Tournament. Having figured out the clue in the golden egg and understanding the need to breathe underwater for an hour, she chose to use the Bubblehead charm. During the task, she was attacked by Grindylows and was forced to retreat. Unaware that the hostages were not in any real danger, she was quite hysterical and fought so hard to return to the water that even Madame Maxime had difficulty restraining her. She was overjoyed, however, when Harry, determined to rescue all of the hostages, not just his own, returned to the surface with both Ron and her sister Gabrielle. She thanked him and Ron profusely by giving them a kiss on each cheek, and after the incident became friendly towards the two. From then on, she came to view Harry as a respected friend. Upon learning that she had been awarded 25 points, she remarked that she deserved 0, as she had failed to retrieve her hostage. After the first 2 tasks, Fleur was in last place going into the final task. On May 27, 1995, Fleur joined the other champions in viewing the beginnings of the maze for the 3rd task on the side of the Hogwarts Quidditch pitch. She also laid eyes on Bill Weasley for the first time and was immediately attracted to him. Being in last place, Fleur was the last to enter the maze behind Harry Potter, Cedric Diggory and Victor Crumb. However, due to the interference of Barty Crouch Jr., disguised via Polyjuice Potion as Alistair Moody, Fleur did not last very long. Crouch wanted Harry to reach the Triwizard Cup so that he could be transported to meet with Lord Voldemort. To get the other champions out of the way, Crouch used Moody's magical eye to locate Fleur in the maze and stun her, though she managed to scream once before it hit her. When Harry returned with Cedric's dead body, who had been killed by Peter Pettigrew, Fleur and her fellow students from Beauxbatons were the first to realise that Cedric was dead and were completely horrified. She herself let out a loud scream and placed her hands over her mouth in complete shock and disbelief. After the Triwizard Tournament and the murder of Cedric Diggory, Fleur attended the leaving feast at Hogwarts. The feast served as a memorial to Cedric, and during so, she was seen being very upset as Cedric became a friend of hers. Fleur left Hogwarts the day after with her family, saying goodbye to Harry and Ron. She kissed Harry on the cheek and proceeded to tell him that she hoped that they would meet again. She was hoping to return to England one day to work and improve her patchy English. During the summer of 1995, Fleur secured a part-time job at Gringotts. It was there that she was reacquainted with Bill Weasley, who had returned from Egypt and had taken a desk job to help the Order of the Phoenix, and the two began dating. Fleur and Bill dated for a year, falling in love until eventually Bill proposed to her. Fleur gladly accepted, and in the summer of 1996, Bill brought Fleur to the Burrow so that she could get to know his family. She was completely delighted and overwhelmed to know that Harry Potter was going to stay with the Weasleys for the remainder of the summer, as her and Harry had become good friends after the Triwizard Tournament. However, her blunt nature and critical attitude created conflict between her and the female members of the Weasley family, including Hermione Granger. Mrs. Weasley did not care for Fleur at all, believing that she was not the right choice for her son. Ginny and Hermione disliked her for her general attitude towards everything. Ginny gave Fleur the nickname Flem, although they never openly used it in front of her. Still, Fleur was tolerated for Bill's sake. She spent Christmas that year at the Burrow too, further annoying Mrs. Weasley by loudly stating her dislike of Celestina Warbeck, Mrs. Weasley's favourite singer. On June 30th, 1997, during the Battle of the Astronomy Tower, Bill was brutally savaged by the werewolf Fenrir Greyback. Because Greyback was not transformed, Bill did not become a werewolf, but rather developed some wolf-like qualities, such as cravings for raw meat. Fleur rushed to Hogwarts with Bill's parents and was shaken by Bill's scarred face. She fired up at once at Miss Weasley's assumption that she would not now want to marry Bill, since he was no longer attractive. Taking offence, she criticised both the idea that she would not wish to marry him out of vanity, and that his feelings may have changed towards her because of possible werewolf contamination. Fleur in fact took pride in his wounds as living proof of his bravery, and stated that she didn't care about how he looked, as she joked that she was beautiful enough for both of them. Mrs. Weasley, finally seeing that Fleur and Bill were truly in love, reconciled with her future daughter-in-law over Bill's hospital bed, and offered Fleur the use of her Aunt Muriel's Goblin Maid's tiara for her wedding day. In the days following, Fleur took care of Bill as he recovered from his injuries, and then attended the funeral of Albus Dumbledore. On July 27, 1997, 4 days before Harry's 17th birthday, Fleur was part of the effort to get him safely to the Burrow and participated in the battle that ensued. She participated in the battle out of loyalty to Harry when he previously saved her sister's life in 1995. She took on the role of one of the fake Harrys, using Polyjuice Potion to take on his physical appearance. Paired with Bill, The two were to fly north on a thestral, as Fleur did not like broomsticks, in an effort to fool any pursuing Death Eaters. After departing, Fleur personally witnessed the death of Alistair Moody. This happened after a dozen or more Death Eaters descended on the Order in an effort to capture Harry. Fleur and Bill were chased by half a dozen Death Eaters, but managed to escape and return to the burrow and relay the news. Fleur was greatly upset over Moody's death and voiced the opinion that someone may have betrayed them, as the Death Eaters seemed to know the plan to escort Harry to safety. On August 1st, 1997, Fleur and Bill were married at the Burrow. The ceremony and reception took place in a marquee tent. White and gold flowers and golden balloons were some of the many unique elements added to the occasion. Ginny and Gabrielle were both bridesmaids. Fleur wore a simple white dress and Muriel's tiara and looked absolutely beautiful. The celebration was overshadowed, however, by the news that the Ministry of Magic had fallen to Lord Voldemort and the death of Rufus Scrimgeour. Death Eaters, with the full power of the Ministry behind them, broke the protective spells surrounding the burrow and apparated into the reception. Fleur was questioned by them, along with the rest of the Weasley family, on the whereabouts of Harry Potter, but was later free to go. Fleur and Bill relocated to Shell Cottage and spent their first Christmas there together, along with Bill's younger brother Ron, who would secretly come to stay with them after abandoning Harry and Hermione on their Horcrux hunt. Following Harry, Ron and Hermione's escape from Malfoy Manor, Fleur helped to look after them and their fellow escapees. She helped Hermione recover from the torture that she suffered at the hands of Bellatrix Lestrange, and healed Griphook's legs with Skelegro. Over the course of the next few weeks, she looked after the unexpected guests, although she disliked Griphook. When Ollivander was well enough to be transferred to Aunt Muriel's, she asked him to take Muriel's tiara back with him, as she never had a chance to return it after the wedding. Fleur expressed concern over Harry's plans to leave Shell Cottage on his quest, telling him it was better for him to stay where it was safe. Alongside her husband and his family, Fleur answered Neville Longbottom's call to arms to fight in the Battle of Hogwarts against Lord Voldemort and his Death Eaters. Fleur probably witnessed the final confrontation between Harry and Voldemort, thus ending the Second Wizarding War, though it's not confirmed. Following the war, Fleur and Bill had 3 children, Victoire, Dominique and Louis Weasley. She was granted medals of honour from the French and British Ministries of Magic for her actions and efforts in the war. That is all for today's video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I encourage you to please subscribe and share my videos if you like my content, because without your help the channel cannot grow. And with that being said, making videos on a regular basis does cost time, money and a serious amount of effort. However, I absolutely love making videos. It's my dream and it's my passion. So if you'd like to contribute to helping the channel to grow for just $1 a month minimum through Patreon, it truly helps, and it means that I can put fewer ads in my videos as my Patreon grows. You don't have to donate. This is just on the kindness of your heart. The link is in the description below, and please make sure to check out my other videos that will appear on screen and my merchandise link below too. I also have a second channel called Game of Thrones Lore that will have regular content uploaded on it very soon. Thanks again for watching, everyone. It means the world to me, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.